So I just want to state some obvious good things about Ben Simmons first, because I think sometimes the negativity towards him as a player becomes a little too much, even if I am going to criticize him a bit in this video. But he is maybe the most versatile defender in the NBA today. The passing is great. The rebounding is great. And he is maybe the top guy in the league right now at box score doesn't tell the whole story. With that said, he's got to score more points, even if Philly is the best team in the East right now. So when you look at Philly's possessions, I would say 90% of the time, it's Ben brings the ball up court and then passes off to somebody else, and then he either sets a screen for that guy, or he goes and stands in the dunker spot, or he tries to get a post up, or he just kind of stands in the corner. He has shot, 4 threes this year, 5 threes, whatever it is. And I think there's a lot of potential in this stuff. There was one play against the Celtics where he ran the handoff play with Seth Curry, and the Celtics had to scramble to Curry very quickly, and it led to Ben getting an easy roll to the basket. I think that action in general, whether it's for Seth Curry or somebody else, can typically force a switch as well, because you don't want to give Ben that role, of course. So I don't want to act as if this is a bad thing to do with Simmons, but it feels like it's almost the only thing they're doing with Ben Simmons in these half-court possessions, where it's just like you'd think he could do more. For example, there was a play late in, I believe, the first Pistons game they played the other day, where he got a screen from Tobias Harris late in the game. Pretty typical pick and roll play. The play that you'd think would never work for Ben Simmons because they'll just go under the screen and that's it. And Ben got an easy layup, or he got fouled or whatever it was. And it's because it allowed him to get ahead of steam to where, yeah, they might go under on you or whatever, but he's fast enough and big enough to where he could probably still just get by that guy anyway. There was another play in the second Pistons game they had where he got a screen from Dwight before they even crossed half court, and it allowed Ben Simmons to just go full speed to the basket very early in the possession. Now you can say, well, if teams game plan for that, they can just load up inside. I mean, sure, there's always going to be some sort of a counter, but it's like that compared to Ben doing this stand and dunker spot, set screen every half court play. I think it's a nice alternative, and it keeps the defense guessing as well. There was a play similar to that against the Celtics. I don't remember if it was the first or the second Celtics game, but they had someone else bring the ball up court in the half court play, and then Ben just started sprinting off the ball towards the rim, and they got it to him around half court, and at that point he had already built up so much speed, he was able to get inside, and I believe he got some free throws off of that possession. And of course there's going to be moments where he could then get it to a shooter or whatever. You have to get a little more creative to get Ben going to the rim, but I think the potential is definitely there. There have been a couple moments where when he's gotten the switch off of doing the screen for somebody else thing, that he's taken the ball in the post and he's actually attempted some bully ball stuff. I don't think he's doing it all the time, but I think it's happened enough times so far, and just some of the stuff I've seen from Philly, I haven't seen every game, to where I think it can be something they build on. And I think all of this is something you can build on with Ben. It's a little awkward because for most NBA stars, you don't have to draw up specific plays to get them going. And to be fair, I think basic handoff and screen plays are things that can become second nature to Ben and this team eventually. But for right now, I think there does need to be a little more concerned effort to be like, all right, let's run the thing where Ben just starts running before we've even crossed half court. There's also been something else that they ran, at least earlier in the season. I saw it a bit. I haven't seen it as much lately, but there's a chance I just wasn't paying enough attention, where Ben would start it on the elbow and basically kind of post up, and then Embiid would set him a screen off of that. Yeah, it'd be kind of awkward, but I felt like there was at least some potential with that sort of thing. Now, even with all that said, I do think there needs to be like a little more aggressiveness from Ben Simmons at times. I would like to believe that Ben Simmons has some sort of isolation ability. Or maybe just more post-ups, I don't know. So yeah, that's my Ben Simmons spiel. I think there's a lot of potential things they can do to get him going to the basket a little bit more. I think they've had moments of these things sporadically throughout the last few games. Turning it into a more consistent thing, possession to possession, would be awesome. Do I have any takes about Philly overall, since it's been a little bit since I've done a Philly dedicated video? I don't know. I still think they have a trade to make. They have the contracts. They have the picks. Maybe Shake or Maxey end up being the ideal fifth guy on this team to me. Not that Danny Green's not still a solid enough low usage guy, but somebody who could do a little bit more off the dribble, that sort of thing. I guess I can just do a big picture thing about projecting Philly in the playoffs. I mean, we're now 1/4 through this season, at least for the Sixers, because we're playing 72 this year. I mean, you compare them to the other teams, it's like, okay, against the Celtics, I don't think the Celtics have the big guy to guard Embiid like that. Your reply to that may be, well then, would Miles Turner have been the guy? To me, no. The other thing about a Celtics series would be, who does Ben guard? Do you just put Ben on Tatum and dare Tatum to beat you there? Do you put him on Jalen? Because whoever you would put him on, that guy would definitely have his hands full trying to get buckets. I don't think Sabonis or Miles Turner is going to slow down Embiid. That said, I do think the Celtics and Pacers have potential to draw Embiid out of the paint. With the Celtics, it's the pull-up three-point shooting with Tatum, Jalen, and Kemba. And with Indiana, it's hoping Miles Turner can be a real stretch guy and then Brogdon taking those pull-up threes. Now, maybe they would just have Embiid defend Sabonis, but, we're a long ways away from me, really thinking about that sort of a matchup. The Sixers and the Nets, I mean, Ben is one of the very few dudes in the league who you look at his size and skill on defense and think, yeah, he actually could defend Kevin Durant to the point where he could actually make a difference on him. And the other thing to think about is, well, the Nets really need some sort of inside presence or else Embiid is just going to kill him. At the same time, it's Harden, it's KD, it's Kyrie. The offensive firepower is so good, and they could definitely have ways of drawing Embiid out if he's got to step up on Harden and Kyrie all day. If we think about them versus the Bucks, first question I have is who would guard Giannis? I mean, you could say Embiid guards Giannis in the half court, which means you don't guard him in the half court. Just let him shoot all day. But then the Bucks would, we assume, get Drew and Middleton involved in screen plays, and then Embiid would have to care about that. So then it's like, all right, well, maybe you put Embiid on Lopez and just dare Lopez to beat you from outside. You could put Ben on Giannis. He would have a better chance of keeping up with Giannis in one-on-one scenarios. So I don't know. There's a lot of options there. I do think Ben, if you just told him we're putting you on Chris Middleton and nothing else for this whole series, I would be interested to see how good Middleton would be in that scenario. If we can think about them against the Heat, I mean, for one, Miami's kind of gone under the radar, by me included, with their struggles compared to, let's say, Toronto. The obvious thing to say with the Heat, though, is, well, Jimmy's been out, and, well, that's the main thing. An Embiid-Bam matchup would be very interesting. Could Embiid deal with Duncan Robinson handoff plays and stepping up onto that while not allowing Bam to get free on a roll going past him? I don't know exactly what would happen. My gut tells me Philly is better than Miami when both are fully healthy, and assuming Philly then makes a move. But, yeah, that one's interesting. So, yeah, that's my take on Simmons. I think, again, there's more creative ways to get him involved. And in the case of Philly overall, they look good. They definitely look good.